Hello, I'm Bruce Lorincz, and this show is called Bruce on the Loose. I talk to people in city government, the school system, and today we're going to feature Melissa Wagner.
Right.
She is the Children's Youth and Outreach Manager for the Wadsworth Public Library. And Melissa, thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to join us today. What was your impetus? Why did you first think you wanted to work in a library?
I kind of stumbled upon the position. So we moved to Wadsworth in 2006, and I had 4 little ones at home, and it was just, time to get back into the workforce. And so somebody said, the library's hiring. So I said, oh, I would love to work in a library. I've always been a reader, loved books. So I applied and got a position as a reference associate. And that's kind of how it all began. It was just like me looking for a part-time job, and then I just fell in love with the whole library system and all of it, what it stands for, and eventually went back and got my master's in library science so I can, kind of go up the ranks. And so 2007 I started there. 2009 I became the adult services librarian there. 2011 I became the supervising librarian and really oversaw outreach, and then just last year I became manager of children, youth, and outreach services.
So you've been in the library for several years,
yeah,
and you've really seen a lot of changes. How would you characterize some of those changes, especially dealing with COVID-19?
Oh, yeah, COVID was rough. Libraries have changed over the years. COVID really kind of, especially for what I did, being outreach, I did most of my work outside the library, visiting schools and visiting daycares and preschools and adult, facilities. And so we couldn't do any of those things anymore. We had to kind of reinvent how we did outreach. So, a lot of it went virtual, where we were, recording our story times and sending them to the various places that we would normally go in and visit in person. We, always did homebound delivery, so we continue to deliver homebound, but we added home delivery for anyone who lives in Wadsworth City School District. So, you didn't have to be homebound. You can now just get books delivered if that was your choice. So, that was very different. Since then, we've been back to doing our classroom visits, which is great, but we've continued to do home delivery. So that was a new service that started out of COVID.
What has been your educational background then?
I actually have a bachelor's in business. So I started off at John Carroll, got my bachelor's in business. I did go back and get a teaching certificate as well. So I am 7 through 12 certified to teach business education. And once I started working in the libraries, then I knew that was my path. So I do have my master's in library science.
I think your daughter also goes to John Carroll.
She does.
Am I correct?
She does. She's studying something completely different, but she did surprisingly do that. It wasn't.
Do you have along the way a mentor, someone that kind of helped you a little bit and assisted you in your library experience?
I think I've taken a little bit from everybody I've really worked with. Some of my first managers, directors, co-workers, people who were in the library a lot longer than me. I learned a lot from all of them.
How could you describe the various groups that you work with? You've already mentioned the school and some youth, work and also the assisted living. Some of the seniors you probably deal with. How would you describe that as the years have gone on? Yeah,
I was fortunate enough when I was in the library early that I got to spend a little bit of time on our bookmobiles. So that was our original outreach department, was more or less revolved around our bookmobiles. Sadly with budget cuts we had to get rid of those in 2009, 2010. And so we had to reinvent kind of how we did outreach. And so that's when we started doing classroom visits. So we would visit the preschools and the Wadsworth City Schools, and we would do story times within their classroom. So we do spend a lot of time with the students and the teachers that way. We also had to figure out how we were going to serve our older adults, and so there's a picture.
Yeah, we have pictures there.
There I am. Yeah, that's one of the preschools that we visit. Me doing a story time in preschool, and they're so fun to visit and and spend time with. And then we, also had to reinvent how we do outreach to our older adult, and so we started doing visits within there. This is a picture of one of our book clubs. We have book club at that's the Village of St. Edwards. Lovely set of ladies who come around for book club. I do also a book club at Liberty Residence. We visit some of the other facilities and do story times in memory care. So we read and we interact with a lot of the memory care residents at those facilities. We also do a program called Tales and Travel, where we pick a special, specific spot in the world. So, for instance, we might do France. We'll read some stories about France. We'll talk about France. We'll have the residents, if they've ever been to France, talk about their experiences there, and that's a fun one to do too.
Yeah, a lot of times the educational system is blamed for not teaching geography, and I was a social studies major, and I appreciate that. And certainly the Cavaliers traveled to Paris last week and played the New Jersey Nets. So it is a situation where our teams and our people travel there. And a couple of years ago, I went to England and took the Channel to France, and it is a very historic place. And students would know a little bit about it if they were in your particular class. What about these? There are some things here that I'm not sure we can get, but there are some things that I don't know for sure if it's outreach, but some programs here.
Those are programs in our library.
And they're for get the interest for the younger students.
And we have programs for all ages at the library, and anyone who lives in the Wadsworth City School District should get our program guide in their mailboxes every quarter. And it's full of a lot of information about the library, all the programs that we're offering, and there is something for everyone, from the youngest to the oldest. There's some kind of program that hopefully you might find of interest and want to check out. But the ones you were showing there were some of our early literacy programs for young ones.
And it's really, really important to include the parents. I think that there's really seems to be a focus on the library to try to get the parents involved. Why is that significant?
Well, I think, what we do at the library, we kind of, show how they can do some of these things at home. So, for instance, we're, reading a story, or we're incorporating some songs, and we're hoping that families take these things and they do them also at home, because these are all pillars of those early literacy skills. And so we're trying just to model that behavior that we would work well at home as well.
The students early on, they get an enjoyment, and they really do really relish those opportunities, and they really go from there, and they really augment their reading. And some people are lifetime readers, and they just enjoy it so much. And we think it's something that people used to do, but still maybe with COVID, maybe that helped people get back to reading. And it really is very enjoyable for a lot of people. It takes you away from what you're doing currently.
It does. And I think, if you come to the library, everyone always asks me, other libraries, do you even have people coming anymore? But they're super busy. We always have people in. Our circulation is great. So people are using the library, and there is still a huge interest in reading and learning at any age.
So you go into the schools. Let's talk a little bit about what you do for the education. You come in to maybe a kindergarten class, and you would take a book and read. And would you give some time for questions and various responses from the students?
Yes, for sure. So we do put out a call to all the teachers at the beginning of the school year, and they're able to sign up for story times. And so we'll go into, for instance, a kindergarten class, and maybe about 20 minutes we'll spend there just reading a couple different stories. We try to theme them. So this past time I read some books about hippos. They were fun. There were some educational, like nonfiction books, and then we had some silly stories that have to do with hippos. But we try to make it fun, interactive, but also educational. And then we also love to talk about the library. Trying to get kids comfortable with knowing who we are, and so when they come to the library, they're excited. They're like, "Oh, I know you. You came to my classroom." So it's a fun connection for them.
I remember taking my daughters, who's the eldest is an attorney and the youngest is a minister, to the movie nights. I think it was Monday night, and they were very interesting movies, not real long, probably about a half an hour, as you said, because it really is to the point, and they just couldn't wait. If we missed one, they were very upset.
Yeah.
What about attention span? We talk about that as educators, that students don't have the attention. Do you see that when you read?
Sometimes. I mean, all kids, of course, are going to have different days. Some days they're going to be a little bit more into the story. Some days they're not. It just depends. But
you also incorporate movies, and at Suprema, and you're here. This one where I have circled, it is a video, a movie, and the discussion there is afterwards about what they learned from it, what their comments was, and there's a snack involved with it.
Yeah.
I would imagine people really look forward to that.
I think so. That's one of our partnerships with the Senior Center. They come and show a movie at the library. I know they have different sponsors that come in and provide the snacks and that, but it is well attended, and it's a good way for them to come in and get a free movie.
Well, the next one, of course, I'm involved in the Senior Book Chat, and I can't wait. Last Thursday of each month, and probably 10 or 12 people anyway join it, and we help choose the books, and certainly the directors, the helpers choose also, and it's very interesting discussions. Yeah. Some people really, and I learned a lot from people looking at it a different way than I would.
Yeah, that's the best part about book clubs, because you read a book and you get something out of it, but someone else may read the book and they'll see a whole different perspective, and so when you get to talk about it, you learn, and that's always great. And the Senior Book Chat is a good group of people that get together, just love books and love to read, and it's fun to see what they get out of the stories.
Sometimes, depending on the leader, they say, "Well, what else have you read?" And some of the ladies, especially, have read. They're voracious readers, and they give you ideas on other authors and other themes that you might not have ever thought about. And I learn a lot from the other people in the group, so it's very interesting. What else have you brought here? You have some. We think about books, but the library's a lot more than books, right?
It is, and so one of the things that we do in outreach is we connect people to this program. This is called the Talking Books program. This is a free program through the state library, and it's for people who are visually impaired or can't hold a traditional book. There's some kind of impairment that they can't read a traditional book, but they can sign up for these talking books, and basically it's like an audiobook. The cartridges come every month usually to your house. You just kind of plug them into the machine, and you get to read a book. And this is beautiful because the big buttons, they talk to you. There's even a little bit of Braille on there if you need that. And it's a free program. Everything gets sent directly to your home. There's no postage that you pay. It's all free, paid for. The books will come periodically. Every couple weeks you'll get some new books. And so not a lot of people know about this program. And so we try to match up, sometimes the residents at some of the facilities that we visit, they'll mention that they're having a hard time reading. I'll tell them about this Talking Books. And they really do. It's very helpful. They love this.
Well, that's a nifty way to keep up, especially if people maybe had maybe they did travel before. Maybe they did go ahead and go to France or Germany or Norway, another country, and I'm sure you have travel themes there and mystery. They like mystery or outer space, and you can elaborate that and get those, and they can really and again, it's something that they will profit from and can express that to other people. Just because they have trouble with their vision doesn't mean they can't talk to others. Exactly,
and they have so many different titles available through the Talking Books program, so it's a wonderful option if it's something that you need. So this is great. This comes to your home. We also do with our homebound program. So this is we call it Pelican Post. So these blue big bags can get delivered to your house once a month for our homebound patrons, and they can request anything from the library. We deliver them and we pick them up. We set times up with them, and you can get anything. So for instance, you might have some books that you want to get, some audio books. You can get the DVDs. You can get anything that we have, CDs, anything that we lend at the library, we can deliver to you in these homebound bags. With the homebound program, we can pick out the books for you, or you can send your own suggestions in. So this is a really great program. The people who participate in it are so thankful for this. A lot of times they don't get a lot of interaction with people, and so us bringing these bags, is a really nice option for them to have their reading materials.
And how long has that been in existence? I think a lot of people probably don't know about those two options, and again, it keeps people, again, their mental state is impacted, and it really does help, I would imagine.
Yeah, absolutely. And this has been in place since I've been at the library, probably many years before that as well. But we started our home delivery program during COVID. I think I already mentioned that. And that is available for anybody who lives in the Wadsworth City School District. You don't have to be homebound, and you can just request books. There it is. You can just request books through our library catalog and pick home delivery as your option. And then, we'll contact you when we get those materials, and we're ready to bring them to you and let you know that, we'll just drop them off right outside your door. There's a picture of some of us getting ready to do some deliveries. Those, I think, are teacher loans that we were delivering. So that's another thing that we do, is we do teacher loans. So we gather up books for teachers. So like maybe a bag like this full of picture books. A teacher may have requested, maybe some books on penguins. So we'll gather some books and we deliver to all the schools. We pick up from all the schools. We do that for the daycares and the preschools as well. So.
I imagine certain holidays like Halloween and Christmas and Valentine's Day. I'm sure those are really you have to get your requests in early, right? Because
pretty much, yeah. Those definitely go quick.
There was another program here I saw this is a new program where people come to Suprema and they can make cards for to give away to other people, and you're not only being creative, you can probably learn from other people what they're doing as well.
Yeah, so once a quarter we do a program at the Suprema Center called Fun with WPL, or Fun with the Library. And every time we do it, it's something different. So in February, the one we're doing is making Valentine's Day cards. So, I've done other things in the past. I've taught some databases that come that we have on our website. We've done games, we've done other things, but so once a quarter we'll come in and we'll do a program at the Suprema Center. Just some fun, and those, it's a good group of people come together, and we just sometimes craft, play games, talk.
It sounds like the library is very flexible. Again, you have concerts.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that for a moment. That's kind of outreach, but people hear about concerts and come in and enjoy those. Yeah,
so once a month on Sundays, we do our Sunday concerts, and those are fun. They vary from different kinds of things, and I think they're listed in our program guide in here, and you can find the information about those in here, live at the library. Right there.
Right.
So, the one coming up looks like we just had one this past Sunday. So our next one is going to be Sunday the 11th of February. So those are always really nice. It's wonderful to hear music in the library when I work on those Sundays.
Yep, I'm sure a lot of people enjoy those, and it really is a situation where, people need to check out the library.
I agree.
Some of these things, have been there for a while, and the word hasn't got to them, or their vision is deteriorating a little bit, and they can use some of these things. And what about families? You know, we talked all about how the family can augment a young reader. There's a lot of programs for families.
For sure, yeah, definitely. You know, check out the program guide. We have tons of programs about children's. One fun thing we do in the summer that, you know, is definitely part of outreach is we do our pop-up libraries. And so we'll be at a park in the summer, and there's one there. Yeah, some pictures.
Video there.
We do story time. Last year we did something really fun where we themed them all for a different fairy tale. So, for example, you know, we did like Jack and the Beanstalk, and so we read some Jack and the Beanstalk stories, and then we brought crafts to do, and like maybe a sensory tub for kids to play with, or they had to build a beanstalk. You know, it was a lot of fun. We offer books for checkout at the pop-ups, and also if you're involved in the summer reading program, you can check in and get your prizes there as well. But we'll be doing those again this summer, so look for those in our program guide for summer.
It's really competitive, and a lot of students want to read 50, 60 books and then some, and especially if it's 90 degrees plus. You know, and you have a little air conditioning. It's pretty nice to go ahead and pull up a book and read and learn. Tell us, Melissa, what you think some of the benefits of reading and being involved in some of these activities for young people, families, and senior citizens.
Yeah. Well, I think just reading in general keeps your mind going, you know. You're constantly learning. It doesn't matter what age you are, you can still learn something new, and reading is definitely a big part of that. Reading in the summer helps, you know, with that summer slip that they always talk about. You know, you don't want to, you know, your kids to go backwards in any of the progress that they've made during the school year. So keeping up with the reading definitely helps with that, and that's, you know, big part of our summer reading club is that we get kids to just continually read over the summer.
And then if students are going on vacation, they can come for a couple weeks and then maybe take a week off if they're away, and then come back. I mean, there's nothing saying you have to come each and every time.
No.
That's what I think is really nice with a lot of these programs. You can drop in if there's a subject or a concert you like. You can come and be there, and then maybe take a month or so off and then come back.
Yeah, for sure. Some of our programs you'll just have to make sure that, you know, we do require registration, you know, just because we have to, you know, count how many people are coming in, so we're not, you know, running out of supplies or, you know, going over our quota for the meeting rooms. But, you know, a lot of times, you know, with the summer reading stuff, yeah, as you're reading, if you want to just come in, you know, every couple weeks and get your prizes, that's good too. But
what about how do other libraries? How do you coordinate? Like the book chat on last Thursday of the month, we choose a book, and how might I get that from maybe another library?
Yeah, so we belong to a consortium of libraries called Search Ohio, and so we give borrowing privileges through those other libraries. And you can use your Wadsworth Library card to borrow books from other libraries. And so, especially with book clubs, we need so many copies of the same story, and we don't have that many copies in our library, so we have to go out to other libraries using that Search Ohio tool on our website, and you just request the book. It gets sent to our library, so you don't have to, you know, go to another library to go get it, and then you just return it to our library and we send it back. So that's a great option.
People even get a call. I got a call. Hey, your book's here. Yeah. Come down and check it out. And then, in fact, the book I got the other day, George Washington.
Okay.
I've learned a lot about George, our father of our country, and he was a big tobacco farmer in Mount Vernon. And in fact, he got a lot of items sent back to him and his wife, and he was in debt. He said, this is a situation where the English are taking advantage of the planters, and he was then changed. He then grew wheat. So I've learned a lot from George Washington already.
Just from reading a book, right?
No question about it. No question about it. What about your suggestion to parents? Reading, you know, before students can do it on their own, and giving them that opportunity, and you know, helping them to continue to read throughout their lives.
Yeah. So we have a couple different programs at the library to encourage those reading milestones. The first one that we recommend people to take part in is our 1,000 Books Before Kindergarten, which is just encouraging families to read 1,000 books. Every 100 books they come back and they sign in with the library and get their prize, and so it's encouraging to keep going. And then we do have all grade level reading challenges. So, for kindergarten, we have a challenge to read a specific 100 books. So that gets those kindergartens reading. But we have grade reading challenges for all the grades. And then in the summer, we have those reading challenges for kids and adults. So, even adults can get prizes for reading in the summer.
No question about it. And it does go ahead and expand our horizons. It continues to get the mind working. And, I learned so much when I read and talk to people about it. And they said, where did you get that? And I said, well, you need to maybe get in the library a little bit. So anything new that in 2024 you're going to unleash on the community?
Oh, nothing that I'm aware of right now, but you never know.
Yeah,
you
so
never know.
People could maybe suggest something.
Sure.
If I said, hey, maybe this should be added to the agenda, and you would look at that and see if that's feasible and go from there.
Yeah, there's suggestion boxes at the library.
Okay.
Director looks at them all the time.
Right.
And then there's also ways to email us through the website. So, suggestions are always invited.
Yeah. Melissa Wagner, I learned a great deal about the library and the workings of it, and people need to check it out. And again, you service not just the Wadsworth community, but if I'm from Rittman, I can come in and get a card and get things in Seville, Doylestown.
Anyone from Ohio.
Okay, great. Fantastic. It's good to know. And thanks for viewing Bruce on the Loose. And I have a show next week on The View, the new restaurant in the city of Wadsworth. Thanks for viewing.
You are watching WCTV, Wadsworth Community Television.